going to take it. Got it! Boston wins!
Two legends in basketball analysis with over 70 years combined experience. This is the Bob Ryan and Jeff Goodman podcast.
NBA, some college, a little bit of everything.
You know, what can I say? But it wasn't going to happen here with him.
All right, it is that time for the Bob Ryan, Gary Tanguay Zoom and podcast right here on CLNS Media Network, sponsored by FanDuel, the exclusive wagering partner of the CLNS Media Network. Score this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets. With any winning $5 moneyline bet, that's $150 if your team wins. Okay, Bob, you and I were texting last night at the time. Well, obviously, we're recording this on Tuesday, talking about the Celtics game against Charlotte. I want to go back to the one before that, though, the last two games. So let's start with the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies had 3 guys missing, including Marcus Smart. And it was just one of those games where I was wondering, okay, Celts, why are you letting these guys hang around? That was my thinking during the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because my thinking was allied, except it was the opposite. Other than the 6-0 start, I spent most of the game saying, why aren't they losing? Or how much are they losing by? I felt that the entire game they were losing, even when they were winning. And then eventually won, nicely in the end, but dodged the major bullet there. You're right. 3 starters, including Moran, who hasn't played at all, won't be playing for a while yet.
Right.
But still, it wasn't impressive. It was, it was luck, and I just say to yourself, and of course, there's other ways, multiple ways of rationalizing these things. And this one, well, your best player went 1 for 11 on threes and you won. And, that was the night before. I'm getting confused. But anyway, they didn't play well. And then last night, they were lucky. I felt very, lucky that they won in Memphis. And they got what they deserved last night. Although if certainly wouldn't have bet that Holiday would miss 2 free throws.
Well, I was just going to say.
They win the game. The game's won if he makes.
Well, that was the key to the game, in my opinion. You go back to the first game, and it's in Memphis, and you always have those games during the regular season.
Sure,
you're going to go, all right, we're going to give them a pass. You mentioned the 1 for 11. You mentioned the fact that the Grizzlies were down a couple guys. Your team, regardless of who they are, whether they're the 69 Celtics, or the 73 Knicks or what have you, they'll play down to the opponent. So I was willing to give them a pass on that night, and they came away with a win. And you could also use the cliche, which we've been using a lot this year, is a year ago, they lose that game, right?
Yeah. Someone actually wrote that.
Yeah, imagine that. Oh, somebody came up with that? Somebody said that?
Yeah.
It's so overused. We use it all the time. But last night, as a Celtic fan, I was kind of pissed. Because now I'm not doing the pregame show. I'm not attached to the team. I talk to you and Goodman. So I'm a fan. I really am. I mean, I get pissed. I was like, last night, I was like, come on, you guys. I mean, you're up by 6-8 points. You got 2 minutes to go. You got to put this one away. Tatum is having the game of his life. What a game last night by Tatum. I felt bad for Tatum.
The thing about it, in my mind, is the one thing that they should always have to count on is defense. I was looking for stops. I was looking for stops that were and that's the thing that's bothering me more.
Yeah, 121, 118 in overtime. In case
I was looking for stops.
You're right.
I'll say this: there were 2 individuals in each of the 2 nights that you got to give credit for on the other side, and they didn't stop either one of them. One was Desmond Bane the night before. They survived him on a major night, and last night it was LaMelo Ball. And by the way, I've been thinking about of course Lonzo's out, but LaMelo has really emerged as a significant player in this league, and the daddy is much of a clown and a distraction and pompous fill in blanks he was kind of right about at least one of his kids, if not both of them, because Lonzo's a hell of a player too when he's healthy.
Well,
So I got to give Daddy credit. He raised a couple of good ball players.
well,
right?
and that's the second point. After I got pissed off, and watching the game, then I went, man, this LaBella Ball, he's fun to watch.
He is.
Yeah, he's so, so to go on the positive side, I mean, he is so much fun to watch.
Oh,
and he's buried in Charlotte, the poor kid. But, his numbers, he took 27, 36 points. I mean, he won the game.
And he made a beautiful drive. He made a really tough drive, when they needed it. And over, I believe Porzingis even challenged it.
Right.
So Tatum, somebody did. And it was really good. The other thing about last night, talk about what might have been category. Hayward came up pretty big at moments against them.
I forgot all about him.
I had, honest to God, I said, oh, that's right. Same thing. I said, oh, that's right. There's Hayward.
That's
and
right.
Hayward, in fact, played well and made some big ones. And I'm happy for him. That's the strangest career of any Celtic of a perceived consequence ever, to get hurt the very first night and the way he did, and never have the career he should have had. He had moments, but not enough. Anyway, so here's the thing, though. I'm not. I hate to play I've been around and seen it all.
Oh, no, I mean, it's true.
I'm going to play I've been around and seen it all.
But you can, you earned it.
I'm not overreacting one way or the other right now. I'm not like you. I'm not happy last night. That was a game.
Not just as the game in particular, watching the game. That's the way. That's the way I live my life, Bob. Is like one game at a time. Like,
I'm not happy
to be there at the end. We know, but like I'm watching last night's game. I go, okay, you guys, you almost laid a stinker the night before. This one you should win.
Yeah. All right, you're right. And so guess what? Now you can go. They were 1 for 2. And they went 3-1 on a road trip.
Oh, they won 6 or 7. They're fine. They're fine.
And I was looking at some of the X's and people, including our the estimable Mr. Bill Simmons, who's out there. He watches every Celtic game with like a scientist, and he dissects the frog every night. Bill. Right. I mean, he's amazing. But I say this out of admiration and almost friendship. We haven't seen each other in years, but I feel a kinship with him. He takes this really seriously. He was out fulminating. I answered him back. Hey, come on! It's November 20th, and they won 3 out of 1. They went 3-1 on a road trip. The point I'm getting at is, you can't overreact. It's too early. But you have a right to be angry. You have a right to be right in the moment. But in the big picture, as I said back to him, in April, May, you're not going to remember this game.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt, and I understand that.
We got more important fish to fry. But it was winnable. But and the Memphis game was losable, and that's the way I'm rationalizing.
Right. Well, see, but this is why. But see, you grew up outside of Philadelphia, and I don't know. Like, do you consider yourself a Celtic fan?
Then
or now?
Of course I am. I mean,
I don't know.
Red Sox fan. I'm a Patriots fan. I'm a Bruins. I'm not one of these writers that will go around preaching detachment. No, I don't see the slightest problem with being a fan and a journalist at the same time. I don't, because when you're writing or when you're broadcasting, you put on your journalist hat. When we're having a conversation like we're having now, and this is what this ultimately is, the fan in me, there's a fan and there's a writer and an observer. Yes, I'm a Celtic fan. Life is so. I don't deny that, and I won't deny that I'm not rooting for all our local teams.
Yeah, so I go game by game, and sometimes my wife or my kids will even look at me and go like, just shaking their head. But like when I take time to sit down and watch a game, that's the kind of the way it is now. When I take time to watch a game or go to a game, I want to win. And I took my daughter, who's a huge basketball fan, huge sports fan. We were in the Philly area. We went and saw the Sixers and the Celtics in Philly, the first one.
Yeah.
Celtics were awful, terrible. I was pissed.
Yeah,
I was like, come on, man. I'm in South Philly. I paid to get in the game. I got this Sixer fan next to me who won't sit down. I mean, I'm mad. I go, they laid a complete egg in that game. I mean, that game was, and they still almost won it, but that game was terrible. So, like last night's game, while I'll continue, look, Jaylen Brown to me last night, he was 5 of 17 from the floor, did not have a great night offensively. You're right about the defense. They didn't get stops when they needed to. And you got to make your foul shots. I mean, you just talked about it. So I don't know, how long, we let people skate. I just, Holiday, I don't know how much longer you say, because you got to make those, man. And he was like -4 last night for the night. So he didn't have a good game. So, like, I'm going to kind of get on him a little bit.
Well, of course, they didn't have White. And
that's what I wanted to bring up to you. Last night's game, again, I know it's November. How big of an example the absence of Derrick White?
Oh, well, of course, it would have been incalculable. I mean, it is because he contributes in so many ways. He contributes on offense, he contributes on defense, he contributes on smart plays, the pass before the pass. He's just a good player. So no, he's missed any time. No, he's not there.
And that brings us to the point, Bob, that you have talked about. We've talked about the playoffs and how you need a bench. I mean, Pritchard, love him. I think he had 19 last night, but not enough. I mean, that's the point. Like last night, they should have won the game without Derrick White. I'm fine, but when Derrick White's not there, to me it exposes the bench.
Well, I liked a lot of what I saw with Pritchard. To me, that one great and played in a lane. It was terrific. He gets sneaky offensive rebounds. He's not going to. He's a defensive liability. There's no question. Right. And so it's a plus minus thing. And I think I don't know what his plus minus was last night, but he had 21 points, I think. But yeah. I'm funny because I'm taking away from the bench. I'm more encouraged in general. Hauser, the name before, hit 5 threes, without which they don't win. And last night he didn't, but he's getting closer to the guy that I think they need. And that would be good. But I'm going to just hang in with Pritchard. I certainly respect what you're saying, and I understand anybody that's going to have to point to the negatives on him. But I'm going to accentuate the positive on him. And the more you see him, the more you realize that he is more than just a open jump shooter, because he does get these sneaky damn offensive rebounds like every night. He's doing something that is scrappy. He gets things done. So, I'm going to, but should he be the reliable third guard, or does he need to be that specialist for that? If they got their team intact, then he would be that fourth guy, not that other guard, not the first guy. So, I'm just going to hang in with him, but this is the last year. I mean, we got to get something out of it. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, you're a little more optimistic than me because of the defensive end, and I just think that's what I was thinking last night. No Derrick White, and I understand, that guy can't go down. I mean, obviously, there's the Tatum can't go down. We have the suspects, but Derrick White certainly cannot go down.
I sure want him against. Now he may or may not play against the Bucks on Wednesday night, from what we're told too. So that would not be good. But once again, you can't be crying for yourself. To play that, we already started off the show by saying that they beat a Memphis team without 3 starters. So we can't be, ourselves at any given night in that regard. That's the nature of this beast in the world of professional sport, period. So,
But to wrap this up on a positive note, I do want to say that, to me, Tatum is the MVP right now. He is my MVP.
You mean
of the league?
I only want to have this discussion until I don't know.
Well, let me put it this way:
we're approaching Thanksgiving. Yeah, I guess you could say it's.
I don't want to get you. Here's my thing, Bob. Is like last night, I really felt bad for Tatum. I mean, 43 points. The guy has stepped up. He's done everything. I have not seen any. Okay, he has a bad shooting night, but in the past, I could always point to a flaw in Tatum's game. I could say that he disappeared this night, or where was he this? I haven't seen that. I have seen this guy. I think he's been fantastic.
No, I think he's been terrific. And but I'm just before I annoy him. There's a guy in Milwaukee that he had 42 last night. We're going to give another look at on Wednesday night. It's always it's going to be in the discussion. There's a guy in Denver that's going to be in the discussion. There's a guy in Philadelphia that's going to be in the discussion. There's going to, and there might be some guys under 6'10" that we might enter into the discussion at times. But no, I'm happy for his progress. I thought here's my closing little salute. The more I see of Porzingis, he can play.
Yeah.
And his, he made a huge block, and I mean, to save the game the other night. But he's lately he's not making those threes, and I don't care, frankly, because I like the other stuff he's doing, and those threes will come with him. No, I like it. I mean, he looks like that was a really good addition. I don't think there's much doubt that just knock on the old proverbial oak that he stays healthy.
Score early this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action, NFL. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including you got spreads, you get your player props, you got over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/Boston and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. All right, Bob, let's move on. That's our Celtics stuff.
Yes.
Lots of scoring. Now, as a fan, where do you fall?
Oh, I've always been pro scoring, and I went through a period of time when we had the Ice Age back in the 90s when you scored 105 points a game, you won the league. And right, I like scoring. I think people want scoring. I always say this about scoring. No one ever fell in love with the basketball by saying, "Oh boy, I saw a good stop last night." You fall in love because you want to see the ball go through the orange. Right. And we have come out of the Ice Age and it's not just the three, although the three certainly has a lot to do with the final number, but it's the pace of the game and how you play the game, how you choose to play the game. Right now, Indiana is #1 scoring per game. That's 125.7. We got 4 teams with 120. Atlanta 195 effectively, but Atlanta 6 with OKC scoring 120 points a game. Celtics are 7 right now with 117. Sunday night. It's got me thinking about all this. Toronto beat Detroit 142-113. The Phoenix beat Utah 140-137 because that was in 2 overtimes, and OKC beat Portland 134-91. I think people love it, and I think that I like it. It has to speak to pace, and the pace of the game. And now the team that is a good piece on the New York Times today about Indiana and the effect that Halliburton's having. Halliburton's having a terrific start, Tyrese Halliburton, and he's having a terrific start, and their pace is the best in the league. I think it's good. I think it's a more entertaining game. So when people are scoring points.
Do you think there are less whistles?
I haven't thought about it in those terms. I don't know. We have to see the numbers.
It just came into my mind. Like,
I don't know.
When you mentioned pace,
mm-hmm.
That I agree. The problem is in the past with the 3 officials that interrupted the pace.
Good point.
So perhaps
I'll have to keep my eye on that. That's a very good point. And of course, I had a theory about 3 officials in pros versus college. I think it's bad in college and great in the pros. And I don't like it in college because I think that too many college referees referee by what I call egg timer. And they are beholden for their next job to the conference commissioner for whom they are working that evening.
Got
And
it.
NBA players, referees have a season, contract. They're going to work unless something terribly goes wrong. The guy, he or she totally messes up. But they're going to work tomorrow night, and they're going to work. They know they're working on February 24th. College officials aren't like that. And so I think referee wants to be heard from every now and then. They will, and if you want to look for stuff off the ball, a guy grabbing this guy, bumping that guy, or making this, you can do it. I just think college refereeing too often, not all the time, but too often, referees referee by egg timer, inject themselves into the game when they're not necessary. I don't think NBA referees do that. They don't have to do that. But I think college referees sometimes feel they got to do that. So anyway, that's
There
that.
you go.
One other thing I'll talk about just very quickly about scoring and such.
Yeah.
I hadn't looked it up, but now I have. It just fell into my lap. Guess what team is average taking the most 3-point shots per game in the NBA? With a number of 43.8 per night.
Sacramento.
Sacramento is not the answer.
Ha!
Answer is the Boston Celtics.
Oh, wow. See, you know what? That was, to me,
I wouldn't expect them to be
obvious.
number
I
one.
thought it was too obvious.
They are. Now, what team has the highest? Their percentage is 364. They're taking 43.8 threes a game. Guess who leads the league in percentage? Team. You won't. I mean, it's if you notice, more power.
I don't.
It's OKC. 41. They're the only people shooting 40% on threes. Celtics are at 36.4. So just so you know, I think it's. By the way, the last place, the least scoring team in the league is Portland at 102.9. I guarantee you, 102.9 25 years ago would have put you in the top 3 before.
Right.
Now,
Well, yeah, 30 points a game went to Milwaukee.
Yeah.
So, well, speaking of OKC, you want to talk about some up and coming?
Oh my God! First of all, I want to talk about some. I think it's going to be a really fun year in the league because it isn't just about the couple of blue bloods at all.
I agree.
People think it, but it's not. I've got 4 teams. I call them up and comers: Sacramento, OKC, Minnesota, and Indiana. And these are teams that you like to watch play because of individuals, particularly. But I think it's good for the league. And there's one other little subplot in the league right now. With all the vast attention that was given to Victor Wembanyama, and deservedly so, and to a point, he's already had some clunkers, not just the one in New York, but he didn't have any big night last night. And it's not an automatic, folks, that he's going to be the rookie of the year. There's another 7-footer with a similar range of skill and body type who is himself having opening eyes. Chet Holmgren, who we had to wait a year for, didn't get to play last year. Chet Holmgren is put that one on your viewing calendar, folks, to see this kid. I don't know if people took note that on last week against Golden State, he had the 36-point, 10-rebound, 5-assist game in which he shot 14 for 22, or that on Sunday night in Milwaukee, he went 6 for 6, 2 for 2 on threes, had 16 points, and that he's shooting 57% from the floor and 46% on threes. So keep your eyes open on Mr. Chet Holmgren.
Well, it'll be good to have a rookie of the year race. Would he be considered a rookie of the year?
Oh, I would hope so. He didn't play.
Right.
He was on a roster, so I can't see why he would be ineligible. Then again, arcane things happen. But so I'm assuming he's eligible. But this is maybe the overall point to make is that there's a lot of breadth and depth in the league in terms of players that are worth seeing and teams.
I think. Well, the Celtics game is a perfect example. I mean, if you're looking around and you see Charlotte playing, you want to see what LaMelo Ball does.
Yeah.
I mean, when John Morant comes back with Memphis, you want to see. There are players on different teams now. Those teams you don't think Charlotte's not going to, they're not a contender, but you see some Minnesota. Minnesota's got some guys. I mean,
Oh,
they're an
Anthony
up-and-coming
Edwards.
team.
Anthony Edwards.
Sacramento is another one. You know,
Anthony Edwards is really making a case, for himself. And I think he really benefited. See, funny how things happen for some people at different times. Being on that USA team, even though they did not win, they got, in the summer, he was the best player. And I think it really emboldened him. I think it really, gave him confidence and bravado that I'm not saying he lacked, but that it's really been enhanced. And he's a dangerous player to go against now, which is so, and good for them, because that's a franchise. What have they, once Garnett left, what have they had?
oh, I know, it's been terrible.
Nothing to
Nothing.
talk about. And now they got something to talk about, and I'm glad.
And it's a great city.
I love Minneapolis.
City. Oh,
I like, my wife and I are big Minneapolis fans. We like Minneapolis.
Bob, favorite Thanksgiving food side, and then what's the most overrated?
Well, if I could have one food to stuff myself with, it would be the stuffing.
Yes.
As long as it's the right stuff. But because some people mess it up with extraneous nonsense. But you want the Pepperidge Farm and the sausage and heat it up. Let's go. But anyway, good sausage. Good stuffing is good. You got to have cranberry sauce for me. You got to have that.
Not in the can. Not the can. The berries.
I'll take the can. I'll take the ocean spray. But
Really?
I'll take. Oh yeah, it's okay. I mean, I'm not. If that's what you got, that's fine. But if you got something more exotic, that's wonderful.
Yeah, for me, cranberry never always pushed to the side. Overrated.
Oh, I love it.
No doubt about the stuffing. Just long as you don't have too many breadcrumbs, and there's always going to be gravy.
Oh, gotta have gravy, and keep some of these casseroles. Save them for another day. Not save them for something else. You don't need. You stick with the basics here. You run off tackle on and you don't run a triple reverse on Thanksgiving Day. You run off tackle. You run push tush. That's what you run. You run turkey, mashed potatoes, cranberry sauce, stuffing, biscuits if you got biscuits, or at least some kind of a nice bread of some sort.
A heated roll.
Yes, not bread, not white bread, but something like that. And if you want a vegetable, make it green beans or and nothing else. That's
well said, Bob. Gobble gobble. Enjoy. All right, that'll do it for Bob Ryan. I'm Gary Tanguay. And I need to tell you, as Bob has already left the show to prepare for Thanksgiving, we have been sponsored by FanDuel, the exclusive wagering partner of the CLNS Media Network. Score this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 if your team wins. See you, folks.